Hello and welcome back to our Photoshop video series. In the previous video section, we made ourselves familiar with the Photoshop interface, learned about the swatches panel and the color concept of color picking. We also played around the layers and also learned some tips and tricks to make our work on the Photoshop interface more fluid and easy. Now, from this video onwards, we will have some hands-on lessons with the program and see why Photoshop is still the best design program since last 3 decades. For the first topic of our hands-on lessons, we will see the selection tools and more specifically marquee tool first. Other than the move tool, selection or marquee tool is the most basic tool in a toolbar. You can make a selection and then copy it, cut it, paste it anywhere on the canvas or on another canvas which is opened in successive tabs, or color it, apply a gradient, and many more tools and panels to do variety of stuff to a particular selected area. Basically, selection tools lets you focus your creative designs around the area you selected. Now before we begin, open the PSD file I have provided in the description so you could do some experiments and repeat what we are learning in the videos. Now look at the second tool from the top in the toolbar. If you have never touched that tool, then the icon should look like a dashed rectangle. Mouse over and hold and you will see the name marquee tool. Right click and you will see the list of other tools similar to the rectangular marquee tool. For now, select the rectangular marquee tool. Upon selection, you can see that the mouse cursor has become a crosshair. Just for some moment, try and explore the tool. Try to select some figures. Try to overlap your selection. Just play around. Okay, if you have had your fun with the tool, we will now proceed further. In case you haven't played with the tool, I'll explain the details as well. First of all, click and drag from the top of the red square to the opposite corner or to select the square. While you are selecting the square, you can see a rectangle being drawn with dashed lines. These dashed lines represent the area we are about to select if we release the click right now. And because we have selected the rectangular marquee tool, the area will be selected in the shape of a rectangle or a square. A quick tip to remember here. If you hold Shift key while you are dragging your mouse with the marquee tool, you will create a square. Release the Shift key in the process itself, the shape is back to being a rectangle. Well, I have been holding this tool for quite a long time now. Let me release it at the opposite corner of this square to select the red square. After selecting the red square, you can see that when you move your mouse cursor inside the selected area, the mouse cursor icon changes. This change tells you that you can move around the selection pane. I repeat, move around the selection pane and not the selected area itself. You can also use your up and down arrow keys to move the selection area. You can also hold Shift key while using your arrow keys to move the selection pane in larger increments. And remember, clicking once outside the selection pane, you will lose your selected rectangle. In any other situation where you don't want any selection anymore, press Ctrl D to remove all the selections from your canvas. Anyway, with the one selection active, you can also remove a part of the current selection. Just hold Alt key and you can see that a small minus sign appears below the crosshair cursor. Now, while holding Alt key, select the area you don't want in your selection and ta-da! And going opposite of minus sign, we can also add some area to our current selection. Just hold Shift key and see a plus sign appear below the crosshair cursor. And while holding the Shift key, select the area you want to add. And the beauty of this feature is you don't have to connect the selection pane. You can add separate selections to our current selection. Go on, play around with the tool, but be sure to undo everything you change in the canvas, or at least don't save the file so you don't have to download the PSD file again. Now, you just learned how to make a selection. So use that knowledge to create a selection around the gray square on the right hand side of the screen or canvas. Try to make it as precise as possible. Once you are sure that your selection is good enough, proceed to fill some colors in it. But we can't just randomly go on and make selections and fill out colors in the canvas. Actually we can, but we shouldn't. We will try to be as less destructive as possible. And for that, we will need to create a new layer. So, whatever color we fill inside the selection pane, we will fill in the new layer. So in case we want to change the shade of the current selection in future, or we change our mind in having a shape like our current selection, you can do changes accordingly. So click the new layer icon at the bottom of the layer panel or use the hotkeys Ctrl Shift N. The new layer will be transparent in nature, so you will definitely won't see it on the canvas area. But do check and make sure from the layers panel that you did create a new layer, which by default should be above the background layer and should be active so we don't do some destructive coloring to our background. Now it's time to fill some colors. Choose the eyedropper tool or use the hotkey I to pick the color shade from the red square. And this time it was easy because it is plain red. You can directly choose a red color, but don't you get used to it. It won't be that simple in the future. Make sure you picked or chose the right color from the foreground color square from bottom of the toolbar. And now, if you have not touched or played around or put things back as they were after playing with the toolbar icons, you can see a paint bucket tool on the toolbar. Click it to select the tool. And if by chance you don't see any paint bucket icon, then look closely at the video to see where it should be on your toolbar. Or find the gradient tool on the toolbar. Right click to see other tools combined with it and select the paint bucket tool, because gradient tool and paint bucket tool share the same icon space. Moving on, with the current color shade selected and paint bucket tool active and also the new layer in selection, fill your selected area with color and voila! Similar to what we did to fill this square with red color, we will fill this circle as well. Go to the rectangular marquee tool icon, right click to reveal more tools option and select the elliptical marquee tool. Like the rectangular marquee tool, the elliptical marquee tool will let you select area in the shape of an ellipse or a square circle. Go ahead, experiment with the tool and remember to experiment while holding Alt key or Shift key as well. And when you are finished playing around with the tool, go ahead and make a selection over the gray circle. And remember to hold Shift key to create your perfect circle. A quick tip to remember here, you can also press and hold space bar while creating a selection with the marquee tool and holding Shift key to make a circle simultaneously. The space bar will let you position the circular selection more precisely over the gray circle we have. But if you release the Shift key while holding the space bar, you will lose your perfect shape of the circle. A not so important thing to remember here about the use of Shift key as a modifier with the selection tools is that when you are making your first selection at a given time, Shift key will let you make a perfect square or a circle. But once you make a selection, the Shift key will let you add new selections to your current ones and not help you create a perfect square or a circle. Once you make a nice round circle around the gray circle we have, go on, pick the color of the circle on the left side, create a new layer, use the paint bucket tool to fill the color inside the selection pane. These were the two basic marquee tools. The other two marquee tools are not so important and you will rarely use them in your future. We will move to the next selection tool, that is lasso tool, in our next video. See you in the next video. Till then, play around with the marquee tool or maybe try the lasso tool yourself.